Hello, everyone. Really glad to see that so many people returned after lunch. Hope you had a lot of coffee. So today I will be talking about 3D avatars that are used in games, in social apps, and other 3D experiences. We are in a very interesting time now when the gaming market continues to grow. And because of that and several other factors, we are consuming more and more 3D content. Obviously, we see it in movies. A lot of movies are now done with mostly special effects. We obviously see it in games. We see it in e-commerce, and all of the virtual and augmented reality is 3D content that is largely synthesized. And that was an inspiration for me to look into the avatar creation. So my previous company was doing something not totally related to 3D graphics. We're doing computer vision, but I was the CEO. I was running all over the world, selling our product, and like jet lag and so much money and so much time spent on travel. And then I come to a meeting, I shake hands with a person, and we sit across each other. And there's only audio-visual information that we are exchanging. So it looks like it would be awesome if like this type of scenario could be implemented in VR. That's how we got into avatars. And obviously, Zoom taught us that we can collaborate remotely, but it also taught us that like a lot of the things that we do in face-to-face meetings, we don't do in Zoom, right? But then, like, we thought, like, how cool would that be if, like, generally avatars are available for all kinds of experience, not just face-to-face meetings, but also games, you know, all kinds of fun online meetings. How do you do that? Like, there are several approaches how you can create avatars that resemble real humans. One of them is that's how the movie industry does it right now. Like you put a person in a huge photogrammetry rig, you make 4D videos so that people actually have more cameras pointed directly to their faces, and they have to speak for some time. And with all that data, you can build a very persuasive, hyper-realistic 3D model of an actor. We have seen recently that this approach has also led to photorealistic avatars in VR. Like if you watched Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg on Lex Fridman podcast, they actually talked in VR in real time with their photorealistic avatars with kind of that approach. Like they had to take Lex into the photogrammetry rig, they did a lot of extensive scanning, and then like this looks like very realistic. Right? If you look at the video, it's also very convincing. Okay? The problem is that approach does not scale. Like you cannot put everyone into photogrammetry rig. And the approach that we were very interested in from the very beginning is something that would work for every consumer. And if you push that to the very extreme, like how much information can you get from just one selfie? Like obviously, there's not enough information to make a photorealistic avatar that would speak like on its own, but from the other hand, it's good enough for everybody to make, right? Everybody has cell phones. The mobile industry has trained us how to take selfies. So you can take a selfie, and like that's the other extreme. So in terms of like this axis of fidelity versus privacy approach. The one selfie is on the left with like minimal data stored about a user. It's just one photo. So if you reconstruct a 3D model, it's supposed to be not exactly accurate. It's very scalable. Everyone can take a selfie. We show that it's enough to recognize an avatar. So if your friend creates an avatar and you play with that avatar in a game, you would recognize that person. You would know that's your friend. However, like for animation, you still need high quality video because like from just one selfie, you just don't get enough information on the person's emotions. On the other axis, there's meta approach with 4T photogrammetry. There's extensive data collected about each user, more than enough to, like if it's stolen by somebody to unlock a phone or break into your bank or whatever. So you have to treat this very carefully. It's not very scalable, as I said before, but on the other side, it allows for hyper-realistic video rendering in real time. So probably the future lies somewhere in between. Meta guys tell us that in future, like when they collect enough data, they will be able to do something similar with just phones, like maybe you talk, record a video on a phone, and that would be enough to build a model of you. On the other hand, we think that there are also like other ways that you can get away with just one selfie. So the product that we're developing, Avatar SDK, is based on just one selfie. It's used by games like Drunken Bar Fight on Oculus using us. A lot of games are using us actually for creating NPCs because like it's just one selfie, right? They send us a bunch of images, we get them back, the avatars. It's very convenient. And we are by far not the only vendor of avatars. There's others. There's Revolution and Des 3D companies that create NPCs mostly. And by the way, both of them integrated Avatar SDK for their feature of creating avatar from an image. There's Ready Player Me that creates cartoonish avatars, and they are probably the biggest player in the industry, at least by the amount of raised funding. And then there's a number of other players in the field, and I didn't put all of them here. There's a bunch of other companies. It's pretty active field at this point. The product that we have, as I said, it creates a recognizable avatar from a selfie. And a lot of people are happy with just that. Like they like the ease of use. You send a selfie, you get back a 3D avatar, you go in a game. That's it. However, what we found out is that a lot of people, they not just they don't like the avatar, they don't like how they look in the photo. Like, I'm sure all of you have friends who don't like to take selfies of themselves. And I don't know if that goes away with the next generation, but like in my generation, there's a lot of people like that. And we see that with our users. So for us, customizing an avatar and making possible to alter your identity is a big part. And you can basically go to online experience and you can try different clothing items. You can change your facial shape. You can change your facial features. You can change your hairstyle. Here you see the hairstyle generated from an image, but you can put on artificial hairstyles. You can change color and so on and so forth. And that allows you to not just change the look, but also to kind of see yourself differently, not like the input image. One thing that shocked us is that this online experience that actually is the gateway for creating an avatar, like all of our customers use that, it has an average session time of 10 minutes. So people on average, they really like to tweak things, okay? One of the big parts of, and big, I would say, challenges for any avatar product is the amount of different clothing items. Because first of all, it's cultural. People from different countries, they have their own clothing. But also, like if there's one T-shirt and everyone puts on the same T-shirt, a game or a metaverse, it looks incredibly dull, right? Everybody's the same. We want to look different. Creating a new clothing item is really expensive. It takes from hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on the complexity. And so one thing that we did to address that, as well as other companies, by the way, Ready Player Me did the same. We have this AI-generated clothing. So basically, you put a text prompt, and you get a different texture for the same clothing item. So you can generate 100 T-shirts, 100 shirts, 100 polos, and so on. Another aspect of the avatar customization that has not been entirely solved, I would say generally, by the 3D graphics community is hairstyles. First of all, it's pretty hard to generate hairstyles from an image that look realistic enough. But also animating hairstyles that they look good enough, especially long hairstyles, on a platform that does not have a lot of rendering capacity is really challenging. So we've been playing with different options. We have our generated hairstyles. They have issues. We had 3D artists create hairstyles and put them on the avatars. And the polls that we run, they consistently show that the generated hairstyles are better. And we show people these images. Not sure you can see the hairstyles. Yeah, the colors are messed up. I'm sorry about that. But basically, on the left, you see a generated hairstyle by the algorithm from an image. On the right, you see a hairstyle that's created by 3D artists. And people consistently pick the left one over the right one. They think the left one is better. We have some ideas about why is that. But the crux of it is that that's not realistic enough. Like these hairstyles that we created artificially, they can be rendered really fast, but they're not realistic enough. So we are working on hairstyles that would be closer to being real, but at the same time, not put too much stress on the rendering. So this is based on this bend on strands, and this is rendered in real time, but on a platform with discrete GPU. We are working to convert this type of hairstyles automatically into strands, and then there's hope that we can render them in real time on a VR helmet. So the avatars that any platform creates, they have to be full body and fully animated. Like they have to be game ready, right? If the skeleton has the right properties, it's very easy to animate one. So here's a short video how our avatars are animated with, like the first avatar that you're going to see
just released
here.
The most advanced creative recognizable avatars from Selfies.
It's animated with a motion capture suit.
You snap an image of
and the animation still has issues, but like that's pretty close
to a game, metaverse, virtual feeding, or any other 3D environment.
and this one is animated just
The
using a
meta-person
video
avatars are
sequence.
highly customizable.
So basically show the
You can
person
change your
on a
facial
video camera.
features such as facial shape or eyes, and lip size, body features. Make the body more muscular or reduce the waistline. There is a wide range of clothing items that you can choose from.
You can easily plug in the meta-person creator into your project and use a flexible API to export model created by your users into the 3D environment in real time.
Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead. So another important aspect of creating an avatar is how robust you are to all kinds of different people taking selfies. And there are two different approaches here. One is you can ask a person for very specific things, like, for example, you need to take a picture with a neutral facial expression because you're building a facial rig for animation. You need to know the person is not smiling. But people are so used to smiling in selfies that they smile even if they're explicitly told not to. And the same with glasses. Like, you can ask a person to take off glasses, but like, I cannot see without my glasses. It's pretty confusing. You can ask people to find good lighting conditions, but a lot of people cannot find good lighting conditions. Like, if I'm sitting in my apartment and lighting conditions are not good, they are not good. Like, nothing I can do. The approach that we took is we are trying to correct that proactively. So we don't explicitly require people to take off eyewear or not to smile. It's just a neural network that detects if there's a smile and digitally removes it. And then the image is sent to the avatar creation engine. And the same with eyewear. If eyeglasses are detected, they are digitally removed. And the state of AI right now is good enough for that. And I think that's kind of where the industry is headed, and that's how it will be in the future. Okay. So we run a lot of focus group studies to test how recognizable our avatars are. And that's kind of very important to us, that if your friend creates an avatar, you see that avatar, you know who that is, okay? So we usually do experiments, like we have a bunch of images with name tags, we throw away the name tags, we shuffle the images, we ask people to put name tags to the images, measure the recognition rate, and then do the same with avatar renderings. And we got to the point where the recognition rates for the avatar rendering is pretty much the same as the recognition rate for the images, which means when we go from the image to the 3D model and then back to the flat image rendering, we don't lose a lot of information. And actually, although our avatars are far from being photorealistic, you saw the videos, right? You wouldn't say that's a real person, right? But facial recognition is actually a very good tool for measuring how recognizable our avatars are. And we didn't invent that, actually. We found that out. We had a security incident when one of the Asian countries had this facial verification system that was circumvented by avatar SDK, as we found out by a few viral YouTube videos. Like, we would never imagine that would happen because our avatars are not photorealistic, right? So why? But eventually, we found out that, yes, the avatars that we create can fool a facial verification system. And we actually had to release a deepfake detector and supply it to that country so that they can filter out real images from the avatar renderings. A big part of the discussion about photorealistic avatars is the uncanny valley. And I'm sure most of the audience knows what the uncanny valley is. It's a term that was introduced by a Japanese robotics professor, Masahiro Mori. And basically the idea is that when you get close to human 3D model, you can get very uneasy feeling in people perceiving that. A famous example of that is when they worked on the Shrek cartoon. The first version of Shrek cartoon had Fiona that was way more realistic than in the final version, and they had some preliminary viewings, and children were scared and some were crying. And so they toned it down, they made him more cartoony. And then in the animation, this effect admittedly gets even worse. Like if this thing that looks like human but not quite is moving, that is even scarier. Like, for example, a corpse is less scary than a zombie. But also, the uncanny valley is filled with all kinds of myths, and people have all kinds of misperceptions about what uncanny valley is. And like if you post an image of an avatar on Twitter, like with 100% probability there will be a comment, uncanny valley. And I saw that not just with our realistic avatars, but with super cartoony avatar that were just manual drawings. So I thought it would be good to kind of list a few misconceptions, actually, and things that are not obvious about the uncanny valley. So the first is the uncanny valley can be caused by discrepancy between shape and texture. So this paper quoted below is basically showing that the amount of cartoonish stylization does not matter that much as the consistency of that stylization. For example, if you just stylize the texture but not the shape, that is way worse if you stylize both on the same level. There are some works that prove that recognizable non-photorealistic avatars do not fall into the uncanny valley. There are ways how you can actually measure like whether this avatar falls into uncanny valley and so make such a statement. And the last one, which is actually more interesting to me than others, is that this is a paper from Trinity College in Ireland. The intensity of the uncanny valley affect depends a lot on different factors, including the person's background. For example, gamers, they do not have a strong uncanny valley affect. The hypothesis obviously being that they play a lot of video games, they see a lot of 3D stuff, and gradually they become acquainted with it, and there's not a lot of strong reaction when things are not looking right. So eventually we are probably moving gradually towards, as we consume more 3D content, we are gradually moving to the world where uncanny valley might not matter anymore, okay? So I want to kind of finish my talk by listing the challenges that I think current technologies and creators of avatar technologies are facing and what lies ahead. Okay, so the first big challenge is obviously uncanny valley. Like if you get closer to real person, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. Specifically, the higher is the fidelity, the higher should be the accuracy. Like if your avatar is very fine detail and rendered like close up, like blown up on the screen, people can notice minor discrepancies, as opposed to when the avatar is rendered like far away and you see it in just low resolution. And we're all also used to viewing images in low resolution and with all kinds of 2D distortions like zoom. Okay. Realistic faces do require a lot of rendering power. Like we can go way more realistic than the current avatars, and limitation is often not the uncanny valley, but also that we cannot just render everything that we want to, and then the uncanny valley effect comes into play when rendering fails. Okay. Capturing and conveying emotions is still a big challenge, and you need either a huge training set for a person, for example, recording 4D videos in a photogrammetry box. Or you need some strong priors, okay? As I said, generating hairstyles is an unsolved problem. Realistic hairstyles cannot be animated in real time on low power graphics system, and I hope somebody comes up with a solution here. And there's this big thing of fidelity versus privacy, and I hope that the next wave of AI that uses differential rendering and can train not on 3D models, because right now a lot of avatar creation is constrained on the amount of 3D content that's available from training. But if we can train on images and videos, that would provide much more information and stronger priors and allow us to use less information for each specific person, okay? And on that optimistic note, I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much for coming.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Victor.